When you look at next-level people who are providing next-level service, what you find out is there's a third factor that impacts their performance, and this is where they really excel. And that third factor is recognizing all the humanity that's in their business. What does that mean, our humanity? It's the recognition that there is an emotional aspect to our work. In fact, let me ask you a question. In terms of customers, in terms of consumers, what do you think influences people more, logic or emotion? Yeah, there's no doubt that it is emotion. And there's a whole area of behavioral economy that's founded by psychologists that talk about the irrationality of human beings in the marketplace. But it's not just consumers who are irrational, it's franchisees. Because our thoughts, our feelings, and our emotions impact how we think, how we lead, and especially how we serve. And what we're going to focus on today really is the service aspect and how our humanity, how the human element of customer service is what separates typical people and next-level people. Because here's what happens. Most businesses, if they even think about customer service at all, they're really only thinking about it operationally. So they come up with a plan. And at Batteries Plus Bulbs, you guys are taking it to the next level, that you have some new initiatives coming, some new policies and procedures to improve the customer experience. It's already pretty good. I mean, when I get called to say, hey, Scott, we want a presentation on customer service, the first thing I do is I go to Yelp. And I hope that the Yelp reviews are really bad, because then it makes it easy for me to give a presentation. In the case of Batteries Plus Bulbs, you're actually doing a great job. Your Yelp reviews are really good. Your Net Promoter Score is really good. That's fantastic. So the question then is, how do you take it to the next level? So your corporate office is going to be implementing some things, giving you ideas operationally what can be done. Here's what I want you to know. If you just focus on the how of customer service and not on the why, if you just approach it operationally and not philosophically, not from your mindset, not from that part, it's not going to help. Because here's what happens. Most businesses, they just do it operationally, and what you get is a robotic experience that doesn't make people feel any better. I recently took my kids to the movies. We get in line for popcorn. When I stepped up to the counter, the clerk behind the counter looks at me and says, hello, welcome to Regency Theaters. And now that the clerks repeat, welcome to Regency Theaters, I was like, okay, thanks. And a woman steps up in this line here, the clerk says, welcome to Regency Theaters. They'll repeat, welcome to Regency Theaters. The one thing they did not convey was hospitality. Clearly, the corporate office had sent out a policy, something operational that said when a customer steps up to buy refreshments, welcome them to Regency Theaters, and everyone else should repeat that. They did exactly what the book told them to do. But they had no sense of why. The human element was missing, and therefore it was just cold and robotic, and there was no connection built whatsoever. I just felt bad for them. They had to repeat the same phrase over and over again, no different than a robot. I went to a Japanese fast food restaurant recently. I was the only person there. I walked in, and when the customer service person sees me, she says, next in line. And I step up, I place my order. 5 minutes later, I'm the only person still there. She walks out with a tray and looks at me right in the eye, and she says, customer number 32. There was no sense of humanity. Now, I'm not going to complain. It wasn't bad service. It was just typical service. Honestly, at Batteries Plus Bulbs, I'm not worried about you offending people. I'm not worried about you being like Joe. I'm worried about you being like Matt, providing typical experiences that are just forgettable. There is no better marketing than a great customer experience. But the only way we have a great customer experience is if that humanity is there. Just a couple days ago, I was on the phone. I was having some technical problems with a piece of electronics. After being on hold for a long time, I get a person on the phone, and you can just tell, once again, they're going right through the script. How can I help you? I explain the problem. Oh, I'm very sorry you're having that. So what you're saying is, and then he repeats the problem right out of a script to make sure that he's on the right page. Don't worry, sir, we're going to do our very best to resolve this problem for you. But there's no empathy. There was no connection. There was no sense that he really got who I was. And you could tell it was also an overseas call, so the poor guy was missing out on the cultural nuances, the things that really connect one person to another. When the humanity is absent, all that's left is something cold and robotic, so why not go to the internet? I don't think that Amazon has killed retail. I think what's happened is retailers have been robotic. and haven't thought about the human side of what they do. They're just about transactions, that you push your product or service across the counter, they slide across your credit card, that's it, and they leave. Joe thinks that's good customer service. I say that's typical customer service, and you're missing an opportunity. Because when you can provide something that's human, that is an experience and not just a transaction, people will remember, they'll tell their friends, and they'll come back. You know, here it is, we think that everyone's rushing to the internet, right? Well, one company that has a huge internet presence is Apple. They have an enormous store. Every Apple product, watches and phones and computers, you can buy on their website. But they are building retail locations all across the world in some of the most expensive commercial areas. And let me tell you, Apple stores make more money per square foot than any other business in the world. Why? Because they have perfected the customer experience, the design, the connection you feel, that they have tons of employees who are ambassadors of the culture, and those employees do not get paid on commission. Their job is just to connect with people, to assess their problems, and to blow them away. And even though they could be driving people to their website, the retail experience they had causes people like me to actually go there, put my name in, wait 20 minutes to even have customer service. I'm willing to do that because the experience you get is something you can't replicate on the internet. So the question is what can batteries and bulbs do that Amazon can't? If it's going to be without humanity, people may as well go to Amazon. But if you can create something that has emotional resonance, that doesn't just solve the person's problem, but has some kind of emotional payoff that engages them, and yes, batteries, bulbs, and emotion, they go together. And I'll share a story later on that kind of emphasizes that. When you can facilitate some kind of emotional experience, where there's a connection that's there, that make people feel good, they'll tell their friends, and they'll come back, and that is how you're going to grow your business.